Okay, so yesterday we discussed about the first generation 4 different models of SDLC. So what we have learned in the first generation is, so we have learned first gen of SDLC models. On that we have learned waterfall, second one prototype, third spiral, fourth one will be incremental. Okay. So first of all, what is meant by SDLC is to develop a new software applications. We need one process to follow. For following the process, we are choosing this software development life cycle. Okay. With this, you have to know how the older generations, like in first generation, second generation, how the software has been implemented, and then based on that, you can able to understand like the current generation SL process actually. Okay. So in first generation, we have waterfall, prototype, spiral, and incremental. So in a high level, I have explained yesterday, waterfall, if the customer requirements are clear, we'll go with this. If customer requirements are not clear, then I will show sample screens with them to understand like how the software should be. Then we will get the clarity from the customers and then we'll implement our software. Spiral, if the customer requirements are keep on changing, then we will go with the spiral model. Finally, incremental, if the customer is come up with a huge requirements, then we will go with the incremental model. Okay. So I hope all the models are clear. If anyone is having any doubts regarding this particular 4 models, then let me know so that I can able to explain on that particular thing, and then I'll go with the new topic for today. Okay, you can chat me if you are having anything uh, for the yesterday's class. Then okay. Incremental and agile not exactly same, but in agile also we will do the process in increment by increment, but in agile the increment we will be calling it as a sprint. So it's like maximum similar, but the process will be changed because in incremental model we don't have like different types of ceremonies, I would say. Ceremonies in the sense meetings. In Agile process we have different types of grooming calls, like the stand up calls, and then we have the retro meetings. So different terminology and the methodology will be changed from incremental and Agile, but partially I can say yes, because how you are doing in incremental process, increment by increment, like iteration by iteration, here in Agile process we will do by sprint. Increment itself we can call it as a sprint. Okay. So while explaining SL, you will get clarity on how the SL process will work and how it will differ from the incremental. Okay. So if both are same, we should not implement like a new process, but it is a different process, but it is equivalent to the increment. Partially incremental model also we will use. Okay. So tomorrow I will explain the SL process, then you will get clarity how it is differ from the incremental and SL. Okay. Yeah. So today we need to discuss about the second generation of the process. So in second generation we have 2 models. Those are fish model and then VNB model. Okay. So almost all 4 categories of development life cycles we have covered. Like if the customer is come up with 4 different mindsets, we are having waterfall, prototype, spiral, and incremental. Why we came to second generation and why we have implemented these 2? So what is the purpose of these 2? That we need to understand. Okay. So let's say take an example. You are working on simple Amazon application or Flipkart, whatever. Okay, you are working on Flipkart. So while you are testing on Flipkart application and somewhat you missed some small bug or some invoice is not generating. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you are working on Flipkart and you missed some bug on that particular Flipkart application. Let's say, for example, after purchasing it or after doing the payment, he is not getting the confirmation of that particular order. The same example last time I have explained. So if that bug was missed from your side and it was went to the customers people, okay. So if it was done, what will happen within like 4 hours or 3 hours of duration? you can fix that particular bug and you can deploy that changes to the production, or you can ask the customer like we will give the refund, or we will make them into proper working, like the order has been successful something. So we will give some confirmation to the customer. So with this what will happen is little bit the Flipkart customers will be affected, but no loss, no amount loss, or no nothing will be happen, correct? But you missed it, but somewhat Flipkart business will be down. Why? Because the customer will face some issues while doing the ordering and something. Okay, so that is one thing. Okay, second case is, let's say for example you are working on some satellites or rocket launching stations. If you are working on such type of huge applications, it's like a high level application. So if you saw some Telugu movies, I think all are Telugu only. So we have Antariksha movie, Robo movie, right? There what will happen? So in Robo, red chip will be inserted. It was wrong program. So that's why the Robo will work as a some abnormally. So lot of loss will happen in the movie itself. Okay. For example, you are working on a rocket launching station. So Antariksha movie also the same thing. So they will configure something and they will take some readings from the software. Based on that readings and values only, they will analyze and predict the conditions actually. So even satellites also, the weather predictions will be happen. How it is giving predictions and giving the values in news, we will say okay, rain will be there, or this much of heat will be there. How we are analyzing the satellites is providing that environmental data. So that's why we are alerting some people, okay, don't go to the sea, like the fishermen or now we are alerting them some thunderstorms will be there, so don't go to the fishing for today. So how we are giving that alerts means satellite is giving the reports. For example, you are testing on such type of high level application, you are working on satellites or rocket launching, but you missed something on that particular application. What will happen? You can't predict the loss, how much it is happening. So the report itself wrong. So you are not alerting any people. So lot of human effort will be there, and then lot of cost also will be affected. Why? Because if you consider this all e-commercial applications like this online shopping sites or something, it will be like a less budget only, somehow less compared to that particular satellites and rocket launching. But that rocket launching and satellite applications, it will be a huge budget actually. So that's why you can't able to predict the loss we are getting, and then the cost loss with respect to the human loss. So that's why to test such a type of high end application, now everyone is depending on the AI, artificial intelligence. That is also a huge system. So if I'm searching on ChatGPT, so it is giving something, so I'm relying on that particular thing, or the co-pilot will be there. So everything we are using and we are relying on the code, whatever they are giving. So all these artificial intelligence, satellites, rocket launching systems, and then like high level applications, all these applications will go with the fish model only, not with Agile, not with V&V, not with this all four models, whatever we discussed. Okay, so you should know and you should understand how the fish model will be applicable for such a type of high level application. So that's why whatever the four cases it is satisfying in the first generation, we are leaving them and we are converting to fish model if you are working in a such a type of high level application. I hope it is clear why we came to second gen and then fish model. Okay, so now I'll explain how the fish model flow diagram will be. Okay. Yeah, fine. Okay, so now we need to get the fish model flow diagram. So as I said, like for all models, the first two steps are common. What are the two steps we have? Yeah, bidding will be common. So we have to bid. Even it is a rocket or whatever, they need to estimate some budget. Okay, this is the budget cost for this. So bidding will be happen. It's like a proposal. Okay, we have to implement this one. Okay, this is the budget. And then kickoff meeting, product manager will be allocated. Once product manager has been allocated, then our process will start with the pin. product initiation node. He will initiate all the process. So let's say, for example, we will start with the pin. Okay, this is our pin. Okay, this is my pin. Product initiation has been started by the product manager, and then we have to make this diagram as a fish. Okay, so this is our fish diagram. Okay, so in waterfall, whatever we have seen, the same flow will be there, but little bit deviation will be there. Like we have to do the double verification on each and every stage. So after product initiation, next role will be the business analyst, right? What the business analyst will do, yesterday I have explained, like the business analyst will require the gather the requirements from the customer side. Okay, so the business analyst will come to gather the requirement, but here little bit terminology will be changed. So yesterday simply I have written requirements gathering in the first generation, but here the terminology will be, we will be calling that document as BRS, business requirement specification document. BRS is nothing but business requirement specification. Business requirement specifications. Okay, so whatever the things which is required for the business. Okay, specifications. Okay. So this is like a requirement gathering stage only, but we are changing the terminology with the BRS, business requirement specification. So the BA will gather the requirements for that particular project, whatever the project it is. So he will gather all the requirements from the customer, what they are expecting. Okay. So once it is done, as usual, the system analyst will be there, but he will prepare the system requirement specification. It's like a kind of overall planning he will do what the system is required. So that document we will be calling it as a system requirement specification document will be prepared by the system analyst. Okay. So once it was done, then again we have the next role, that is technical architect. So what the technical architect will do, he will prepare the design documents, the high level and low level design documents. So this is a flow actually, but how it will differ from the old to new processes, once the business analyst has been required gather the requirements from the customer, so we are taking the another BA and team help to review that particular BRS documentation, because we are not relying on one particular team, and we are giving the testing to another team who is having the same experience. So it's like a double verification. So he has gathered the requirements and he documented it as a BRS document. And again, we are appointing one team specifically to review that particular document, whether it was correctly written or not. So how to check whether it was correctly written or not? And you have to check without having any mistakes or missing things. It should be there. For that purpose, you have to get it reviewed by the another BN team. So that is the thing. Next, we have the system analyst. He will prepare the system requirement specification, but we are not relying on him, and we are taking the another system analyst help to review that particular SRS documentation. Okay, so two level verification. It will take lot of cost because too many resources are required. Resource is nothing but employees. Too many employees is required for writing and for verification. It will take too much of time. Even though we are getting all the time cost effectiveness, but still the quality of the application will be guaranteed. So that's why we have to go with the fish model. Okay, same technical analyst will be there for the designing, but for verification of that particular design documents of HLDs and LLDs review, so we are taking the help of the another technical architect team. Okay, so it's like a verification of the document. So if you observe in this particular three stages, you are writing only documents, correct? So these are the documents and you are doing the review of that particular documentation by the help of another team. Okay, so once the design was done, so as usual our process only whatever we learned yesterday, coding process which will be done by the development team. So we are recruiting another development team to do the unit testing of the application. But yesterday the same people was done. But here coding will do by one people and unit testing their individual programs, each and every program, each and every line of code will be tested by the another development team. Okay, so that we'll be calling it as a unit testing. So after unit testing was done, then we will be performing the integration. Separate development team will perform the integration. Actually, I am calling integration, but to connect that individual programs also we need another program support. Again it will be coded. For connecting to one code to another code there won't be any physical thing, right? It again coding only. So that coding will be done by some another development team, and for doing the integration testing they are allocating another team for doing the integration testing. So in each and every phase we are doing double verification, so that it is taking lot of time and lot of resources, but still we will verifying the quality guarantee application. So once all this was done, then your software will be ready. This is your software. So now the separate testing team will comes into picture. So this is ours. Testing team will be there to test this application with all your positive and negative cases and edge cases with this software application, to ensure all the expectations from the customer which is gathered by the BA should be matching the developed software from the development team. For that we have to do the testing. How much testing it was done till this phase, it is different. After this testing team phase it will be different, because whatever the mistakes which we will do, own mistakes cannot be recognized, right? Whatever they are doing coding, they will feel it is correct only. Even the documentation also they will feel it was correct only. But the problem will comes the second I it is seeing, then we can able to identify. So even whatever I have tested, I will say, okay, I have tested 100%. It is like a 100% bug-free software application. I have tested everything. All bugs I have identified. If I have given this particular software to another tester, again they will give some more issues, because the difference will be from different types. So there might be a different prospection, like user perspective will be different. So that's why the statement will be there in the software industry is like 100% bug free software cannot be implemented. No one can able to implement 100% bug free software application. Even you are using Amazon, Flipkart, if you give, again we will get some more issues on that particular applications also. Okay. Okay, because different use cases will be done by different people, so different scenarios will comes up. Maybe it is like a coding only. It's not mandated to handle all the cases. Some cases will be failed. That cases we have to identify. Okay. Okay. So once testing is done, so little bit here change. So after testing, I directly moved to release state yesterday. But from here, we will be having the acceptance stage actually. So we have to do the acceptance testing. Who will do the acceptance? Whoever given the requirement. So you ordered something. So whatever food you have ordered, so what you will give feedback? If it is good, you only will give, not the prepared people, right? Similarly, BA will gather the requirements from the customer. So the customer people only will give the feedback of that particular application. So this stage is like a ready to move or ready to stop. For example, if they have given the feedback is good, then you can plan for the release. Correct. So if they are not satisfied and whatever they have expected, it is not meeting it. So then what they will do? They will give their feedback to the team members, and then they will do the changes whatever the feedback is given by the customer people. So if the feedback is good, then you can release that particular application to customer side, because they are the one who have shared the requirement. So this is a release phase. Who will release the application means in companies DevOps people will be there to run the pipelines and all. Whatever the code development team has been written, they will deploy it to the customer side. So once it was done, so the another team will involve to do the release testing. It is mandatory to do the release testing as well. Why? Because once whatever the tested things, it should work in a same way in the production environment also. Production environment is nothing but what the customers are really using. So based on that environments, I will explain later so that you will get the clarity. What is production, what is testing environment. Okay. So directly you can't do anything on the production side. So we have to take some base side to test all the features. Okay, QA side. So once it was released, we will be having the maintenance. as usual. Any development life cycle will have the maintenance. Any software application will have the maintenance. Without having maintenance, customers won't use, because we need some people to ask our queries, right? So we will be having the CCB. CCB is nothing but, yesterday I already said, change control board team. Okay, so these are the people we will be acting as a production support. Whatever the customer request or customer failures will comes up, the CCB control board team will be handling that particular request. The same process, the top one, but we have added the another verification cycle. Okay, so as I said, these three stages we will be calling it as a documents verification, right? So you are verifying the documents in this particular three stages. So that's why we will be calling these three as verification, because these are only documents you can verify it. Okay, so from here to here we will be calling these as validation. So what is the difference between verification and validation? Is verification is simply, we will say it as a static testing, which means you are verifying the documents. It's like a static testing. Validation means you are dynamically changing different values and you are checking the output. Yesterday also I said one example of even and odd number. So you are giving some input and you are checking for the output. So that's why all these stages we will be calling it as a validation, which means you are validating the code which is meeting the expectation or not. So that's why this is a validation phase. This is verification. So fish model, we can also call it as a verification and validation phase. So it will be divided into two. Okay, clear? It it should looks like lengthy, but same thing whatever I have explained I just repeated today also in a fish model. But why we came to fish model, I just explained starting. So if you want to work with the high end applications, then you have to go with the this particular fish model only. So in a regular model, if you have going, then it should not work, because in normal commercial application, healthcare application, insurance application, so it is okay if you missed one or two issues, that is fine. But if you are working such a type of high-end application, you should reduce your bug rate, because if you miss something on that particular application, it will be like a huge loss. We can't able to predict also. Correct? So last time we saw that Gujarat Ahmedabad, small mistake was happened. Whatever, wherever it is, we are not sure. But it is like a huge loss. So that's why if we are relying on software, that much of quality testing also required on that particular software. Otherwise, we can't able to use it. Okay. Yeah. Online guys, clear with this fish model? Anyone is having any doubts, then let me know. Okay. I hope it's clear, but if you have any doubts, then let me know. Okay. So this is about fish model. So next, I'm going to explain V&V process. Don't worry about these diagrams and all. As I said, I'll share the documentation. Okay. So these are only like high level understanding things, but not required. But sometimes in interviews, all they are also focusing on the previous SDLC process. So that's why I'm covering. But our real classes will be starting from tomorrow. Make sure everyone is joining from tomorrow, because Agile methodology is most important. Every company is following that one only. That I'm going to start it from tomorrow. Okay. So as I said, in the second generation, we have two, right? So fish I have explained now. Second model will be V and V model. Okay. So V and V, we have already discussed verification and validation, but not related to fish. So as I said, like if you want to use small commercial application, let's e-commerce application, healthcare, logistics, everything will follow with the V and V. Okay. So medical related. V and V also looks like this. I will show you the difference between fish model and V and V process. Okay. So we have to make this like a V. This is Yeah. So VNV process. So we know already. First V stands for verification. Second V starts for validation. Okay. So this is my verification cycle and this is my validation cycle. So what will be there in verification? So VNV are like already I know like bidding, pin, all are same. So we'll start with BRS. Business requirement specification. Who will prepare? Business analyst. Okay, business analyst will prepare the business requirement specification documentation. And next SRS will be prepared by the system analyst. So whatever the planning and details will be there related to system will be there in the SRS documentation. And our technical architect will prepare the HLD and LLD, high level and low level documentation. So once these are all done, so these are all only documentation. So who will do the verification? Here, same BA, whoever prepared the BRS documentation, the same BA is doing the verification of that particular documentation. Similarly, SA. So the same SA will do the verification of the system details. Okay, here also the same SEA, so they are not taking any others help to do the verification of the document. Same people whoever done, they are doing the same. Okay, once LLD designing is done, then the developers will start with the coding. Once coding was started, so once coding was done, they have to check their individual programs. That stage we will be calling it as a unit testing. The unit testing is also done by the same developers. Okay, and then next stage will be integration. Who will do the integration testing? The same development team who has implemented. Then we will be having the software testing stage. So who will do the software testing? Us, which means separate testing team will be involved on this particular thing. So there will be a separate testing team to test this particular change. Finally, it will be going to the acceptance stage. Okay, so next stage will be acceptance stage. So acceptance means you are taking the feedback from the customer. As usual, release and maintenance at the last it will be there. Okay, that is as usual. So here also you are verifying the documents. Who has prepared, the same persons are doing the verification of their documents. At validation phase, they are validating their code whether it is meeting with the expectations of the customers or not. That is your validation phase. Okay. So this model will be applicable for all type of this commercial applications, small applications like logistics, commercials, healthcare, and insurance, medical related, device related testing. So every people will go with the V&V process. Okay. So these are related to our second generation of process. Okay. Yeah. So far what we have covered, let's summarize it. So first I have explained like what is software, what is testing. Software is nothing but it's a set of executable programs. Who will write the programs? Development team. So whatever the code they have written, there should be a testing team to test their code whether they have written correctly or not. Testing means you are checking the expectations of the customer. Okay, the customer will ask the application should looks like this. Okay, they are asking some Facebook application. Okay, the Facebook should be having some login screen, and then after successful login they can able to see their friend requests, notifications, reels, shorts, everything, whatever the videos they have uploaded, photos. So these are all requirements from the Facebook application. The Facebook application is intended to add to connect with the people. So that is the purpose, that is the expectation of the Facebook application. The all the things which has been programmed correctly, once program is done, they are creating these screens like for the better user experience. I said already, so UI is nothing but user interface. It's an interface between the two different peoples actually. Okay, so that's why you have to test whether this application has been met the expectations of the customers or not. We are verifying it. So that's what I said, testing. So testing, how many ways you can able to do? In two ways, manual way and automation way, that I have explained. Manual means If the software test engineer is doing all the steps by his own, like with his all inputs, he is doing and he is testing by his eyes, then we will say it is a manual testing. Automation means whatever the steps we are doing, that should be scripted. Then we will be calling it as a automation testing. If you are converting your manual steps into automation scripts, we will be calling that as a automation testing. Okay. So for automation testing also, you should use some tool. That tool we are taking it as a Selenium tool with a Java language. That is the best combination. Not only Java, Selenium can able to also combine with all different programming languages. Let's say C Sharp and Python, Ruby, Perl, Rex. So whatever the different programming languages are there, everything will be supported. But in the market, Selenium and Java is the best combination in the market. So that's why we have chosen to go with the Selenium and Java combination. Okay, that is the starting thing I have explained. And coming to softwares, we have three different types of application softwares available in the market. Those are Windows, web applications, mobile application. So you should learn how to do the automation on all three, how to do the manual on all three. Manual or same for three different platforms, but automation, it is somewhat different and you have to use different tools. For doing the Windows automation, we can use Winamp driver or robot class you can use. So I will explain either of the one. Okay, we can use both. For web application automation, we will use Selenium and Java. So Selenium and Java can be able to do the automation of only websites. Mobile application can be done by the Appium tool along with Selenium and Java. Okay, so that time I have explained. For example, if you are using the same Zoom app, so if you are accessing it as a URL in a browser, this is a website application. Okay, zoom.us. Okay, or amazon.com. So these are all website URLs, website applications. So the same Zoom, I have it as a Windows application. This is my Windows app. If you search on your Windows application, Zoom is available as an app in your Windows computer. This is a Windows application. Same Zoom you can install on your mobile, then it is a mobile application. So you have to be very clear what type of application softwares we have in the market and how to deal with them. Okay, that is what we are going to cover in this particular course duration. So as I said already, for developing a software, because we are doing the software testing only, first you should understand how to do the testing on a software and how the process of the software will be there. So even developers, this much of understanding is not required, but for the QA team, it is mandatory to understand the software development lifecycle. Because if you don't understand the process, how the company is following, so that you can't able to understand where requirements will come, from where development will done, from where you get the code, and from where you have to test it, you don't know. So that's why, as a fresher or experienced whoever it is, you should know how the development will be done. So that's why the stage we are calling it as a software development life cycle. Okay, you should understand this particular life cycle to understand the flow, how the development and testing will be done. So under that only I am just explaining with the first gen and second gen. First gen we have already covered with waterfall and all these things. In second gen we have the fish and V&V process. Okay, so the most popular thing will be third gen process. So in third gen we will be having the Agile Scrum process. This is what we have to understand. Okay, clear till this point? Then I will start, like I'll give brief of Agile process for 15 minutes, and then the flow diagram I will explain tomorrow freshly, so that you will get understanding clear. Meanwhile, if you have doubt till this particular point, then I'll happy to assist you. And one more important thing I have explained in the last class also. So let's say for example, this is your software application, right? So whatever you are seeing, that is your front end. Whatever it is having in the data, that is we are calling it as a backend. Okay, so in backend we will be having the databases, we will be having the APIs. This flow is also very important. Who joined today, for them only especially I am explaining. So this we will be calling it as a front end web UI, and in middle we will be having the API, and we have the database. So we are going to cover how to test the databases and how to deal with API also. I'm going to cover it. So let's open this one. Okay, let's search for LG washing machine or something. Okay, you search it. So you are getting some records related to LG. So you got 30,000 results of the LG washing machines. Okay, so get it today. How many results will come? It will be reduced to 99 only. So we have total 30, but if you want to get it by today, you are getting 99 results of this particular thing. Okay, let's say for example, if you have adjusted your pricing, then based on that it will be changed. So based on your inputs, the results will getting changed. Okay, let's say for example you are specifically asking for one particular color. Okay, we need only black color, so results will be reduced to 101 only. So how it is coming? So everything is coming and configuring in the backend. So that's why you are able to see whatever the result, specific color or the specific pricing, or you wanted to adjust with the pricing. How you can adjust? So there will be a price scale. Let's say for example, I want till only 40,000 scale of amount or something. So again, it will be reduced with some other amount. Okay, so all the things will be changing within a fraction of seconds. With your single clicks it is getting changed, right? So how it is changed means whatever you requested, that request will be going to the database through your application programming interface. So if you have the data related to your request, the database will give the response to the API, and this API will integrate the data to the front end. So this flow you should understand. As I said, you can open this network tab. On every computer, you will able to see this network. Whenever you are giving some clicks, some API calls will be happening. If you see, it is getting some API calls. Okay. So you are requesting something and you are getting some responses from the backend database. Whatever you are getting here, this is being integrating with your front end. So that's why we are calling this as a front end web UI, user interface. Okay, the Amazon is the interface between the customers and this particular LG washing machine providers. Okay, LG washing machine providers also using Amazon to load their product into Amazon, and as a customer you are coming to Amazon to purchase their product. As I said in the yesterday's class, no product will be implemented in the Amazon, but they're adding their products into Amazon. So that's why it is a UI, user interface. So you have to first check the UI whether it is working correctly or not. Then you have to concentrate on the backend databases and API. Whatever the data it is coming correctly or not, how you can ensure by checking the your database tables. Okay. So this is the high level overview of your software application. So this software to be tested by following some process. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So let's start with real topic. So this is the topic we need to understand. Agile methodology. Okay. So actually, Agile also we have some submodels. Okay. So what are the submodels we have in Agile is first popular thing, Scrum. That's why I use the word Agile Scrum. Okay. Scrum is one model. Second one is extreme programming. Okay. We will call it as a XP. Third, ASD, I think. ASD, Adaptive Software Development. Okay. Fourth one will be DSDM, Dynamic Software Development Model. So these are the four submodels we have in the Agile methodology. Okay. But out of these four, the Scrum is most popular one. I'm not sure who is using this particular three, but no one will use. So even you search in any like Google or something also, I'm not sure who is using this. But Scrum is the most popular, and most of the people, 99% of the people, is using the Agile Scrum methodology only. So that's why we will be calling it as a Agile Scrum process. Okay, so this is the most important process, and market is also demanding and using this particular process only. As a fresher, you should understand to understand the flow. but who is putting the experience also, if they understand this process, they can able to easily accommodate in the companies and they can able to survive easily, because we are already discussing the scrum process. So agile scrum process. So first of all, before going with the agile flow diagram, you should understand what are the manifesto points of agile. Manifesto, we will be calling that as a agile manifesto. This is like a one of interview question. They will ask, can you please explain me the agile manifesto? Manifesto is nothing but, in social we have learned this particular word manifesto. It's like a rules. What are the rules we should follow if you are following or if you are working with the agile process? Okay, we have 4 manifesto points in agile methodology. First I will write it and I'll explain. Okay, first one is individuals and interactions over process and tool. This is first thing. Second thing, working software over comprehensive documentation. Okay, third point will be communicative and contract negotiation. With customers, or we would say clients. Respond to change over a plan. Okay, so these are the 4 manifesto points we have to follow with the agile manifesto. Okay, to go with agile process, you should understand these 4 rules. Okay, first thing, individuals and interactions over process and tools. Let's say for example, you have worked in a V&V model in your previous company or the same company with a different project. In same company also we will get different project. If one project came, it was completed in 2 years, we will allocate it with the second project. Let's say for example, you worked with the V&V, or you are working with the agile only but not fully scrum. Actually in companies they will follow partial scrum also, they won't follow the exact process, but they will say as a scrum, but it's like a skipping of something on the scrum process. So let's say for example, they are working on some partial scrum or V&V process, and now the project or the new company is requesting to follow the pure agile methodology. You have to be individually interactive with that particular process, whatever the scrum master or product owner, the product owner in the sense product manager, has been decided. In the same way, tools, the product owner. So earlier I used the word product manager. The product manager role will be till only second generation. From agile model on also, you have to call it as a product owner, PO. PO will be there. So let's say for example, PO has decided one tool to do the automation. As I said, we have the QTP, Selenium, test runners, so different tools are there for doing the automation also. For example, you are working on the QTP tool, the older one. So now they are asking to convert yourself from QTP tool to Selenium. In my career also, I started with the QTP before 10 years back. So that time they asked me to work with the QTP, because that time that is only there. Selenium is not there. And that is also licensed one actually. So we use that QTP with license. They'll purchase license, I need to use that. But now Selenium was came, the company asked me to migrate from QTP to Selenium by the purchase one. So that's why I migrated myself from QTP to Selenium. I learned it. I'm working and implementing all the things with the Selenium tool. So that's how you should be. You have to be individually interactive over process and tool, whatever they requested. Even with the development team also, they will ask to follow some process or they will ask for some tool. Even in agile also, I will draw some flow diagram, but in the company they ask to go on that particular process, you have to go and implement that particular process only. So that's why the first point is representing individual and interactive over the process and tool, whatever the product owner has been asked for you. Okay, that is the thing you have to do. So if you are saying, okay, I know only VNB, or I know only QTP, or I know only this particular test and I will work on that particular thing, it is not a correct way to deal with the company and the people. So that's why you have to be in, if it is not known with you, but still they will provide some trainings with you, and then you can work with them, and then you can migrate yourself, and individually you have to interact with that particular process and tool, which means you have to learn it. Okay, so even in the recent company also, actually the people who is required for that particular application, whatever the software we are testing, it is completely related to cloud and networking. It's a mix with the web application. It's like a combination of different components. Actually, it is like a one application, but is lot of things are there. But they are having some 10 requirements which is required for QA, but they are unable to find the total 10 requirements which is having by that particular people. What they will do, they will select maximum they can able to contribute. Let's say I have selected for 7 or 8 points, I have satisfied. Remaining two, they have given training for me. The first 2 months I got the training related to that particular new things, because in the market they are not getting any people who is having all this particular requirement. So that's why the people take the in the companies. So that's why while applying your resumes and you are applying for jobs, so let's apply for all the jobs which is having in your Naukri portal, so that if one or two are not matched with your profile, they will agree, because the rest 8 you will good, you are very good on all that particular 8, but you are something low on that particular 2, or you are not aware. So simply say, I'm not aware of these particular topics, but if you get the chance, or if you give the chance, I'll learn myself. So every software company will give proper training. If you are not aware of something in an internal project, like in the same company, or they are recruiting for new, then also they will give the trainings. Even with after getting like 10 plus years of experience also, I got training for the new things, because I am not aware. Even in the market also no one knows. So that's why they have provided me the training, and I have individually have the learning gene. So that's why I have interacted with that particular tool and process whatever they have asked. So that should be there in a tester or a developer if they are working in a Zen process. Understood? That is the first thing. Okay, you should be in your mind, okay, I should be individually interactive whatever they are requesting, because that is a learning. It is a new add-on for your resume. You are learning something new. Okay, second thing, working software over comprehensive documentation. Working software over comprehensive documentation. So if you are specifically working on a SL model, you should go with a lot of documentation. As a tester, from our side, we should maintain first test design, and that you have to write test scenarios, test cases, test data, and then you have to prepare the bug reports, and you have to prepare the final closure reports. And then from the starting onwards, they will prepare lot of documentation. Tomorrow while explaining SL process, you can able to understand. First, they will prepare the backlog documentations. Sprint backlogs will be there. It's nothing but a requirement documents, we can say. Okay. So if anyone saw that particular documentation from the product owner or the scrum master or the testers or the development, so the working software, whatever the software we are working on, that should be in a proper documentation. So I'll explain what are the documentation we need to do, and I will give the some scenarios how to prepare that scenarios, cases and data, so that you can able to prepare that particular documents. Okay. Third thing will be communicative and contract negotiation with your customers and clients. Okay, you have to be very interactive with your customers and clients to understand the need of that particular business logics. For example, BA has been given requirements. Okay, login should be like this, but how exactly the people is using in the real world? For understanding that, you have to be communicative with your customers and clients whatever you are unable to understand, because if you are unable to understand the customer use cases, let's say for example Facebook, how to use it, no one is giving demo, you are using by your own. Let's say for example, if the customer is using, how exactly they are using we don't know, then that time you should contact with your clients or customer, what is the main purpose, how the use case, how it is being used by the customers. For understanding such things, you have to be communicative with your customers or clients. That is the main thing. Even though you got lot of documentation how the requirement or expectations will be, but to understand exact use cases, we need to contact with your customers only. Even I am also, whatever the documents are there, whatever the user stories are there, but still I'll ask sometime, okay, how exactly you are getting these particular scenarios. We need to talk with them so that you will get clarity, so you can test it better. Okay. Fourth thing, respond to change over a plan. So this how it will be like. Let's say for example, we have already discussed the incremental model, right? In increment model, I said okay, we will take some requirements and we will work on only that particular requirements and we will release it to the customer. Let's say they have given some requirement and we are already working on it. Already 1 week or 10 days of implementation it is done, but in middle the customer came and they are asking to change that particular requirement. We don't want in that particular way. It's like an enhancement, it's like a spiral. They're asking to change that particular requirements and implement it in a different way. So if the customer is asked to change that particular plan, you should accept that one. Whatever the stage, if it is an ending stage also, if the customer is asked to change that particular thing, you have to be ready to change that particular thing. Because customers are good. Whatever the things we are getting from the customers only. If the customer is denied that particular changes and asking for the new changes or updations, you have to accept that particular changes from your side. That's why you have to respond to change over a plan. Yesterday's example I said, right? So the customer is given the requirement for username, password, sign in button. You have already implemented this, but again they have come up and asked for mobile number, OTP, or some user ID, password and login, or some email ID, password, or some login. So they changed it, but you have to accept it even though it was developed. So that's why the fourth point should be responding to change over a plan. So first thing, you have to be interact to your process and tools, whatever that particular software is demanding, the development process. Second thing, you have to concentrate on the documentation part, whatever you are doing, the software understanding should be there in the documentation. Third thing, you have to be collaboratively communicative with your customers to understand the business needs. And fourth one, you have to respond change over a plan. Whatever the changes they have asked in middle, then you have to change that particular plan, whatever the customer is requested. That is the fourth thing. So these are the manifesto. If they have asked in the interview, you have to explain these 4 points. In internet also you will get the same points, but this is a very important topic that I can say this is the first interview topic I have explained today. SL manifesto. Okay. I hope it is clear. I have somehow checked. Acceptance testing, which not done by the testing team, but in acceptance environment also we will do basic testing, but acceptance will be done by the customers or client side people, or we will use one word, stakeholders. I will explain what is difference between customer, client and stakeholder. So these people will do the acceptance testing. QA team is not doing the acceptance testing. Okay. Next, Kiran, I think today he's joined. Hi, Kiran. Which Selenium version you are using? Syllabus you can find on the website itself. Okay. If you want, I'll give you the list what I'm going to explain. I have already explained, but I'll recap you. But the list of documentation you get in the DURGASOFT website actually. Okay. Selenium version I am using currently, that is 3.141.59. I'm using only 3 series of version of Selenium for my automation. Currently 4 dot version is working on, but I'm using the last version which is having in the 3. So I'm using the WebDriver because some of the functionalities which was deprecated in the 4, so that's why I'm using 3.141.59 version. Okay. Java you can use latest version, but from the starting I'm using Java 8, so that's why I'm continuing on the Java 8, but we can use the latest 21, 17, whatever we want, we can use it. Okay. Coming to syllabus part, we have already in that website, but as I will explain. So we are going to manual testing first. So the manual testing we are going to cover So first topic will be SDLC lifecycle process, types of SDLC. So that this is currently I'm dealing now, like fish VNV, the first gen I have explained. So Agile tomorrow explain, and then yeah, second chapter will be Agile process. These are like small topics only. So Agile I will explain like coming 2 days. This week I will complete the Agile, and then in manual I will explain testing stages or phases. In how many phases or stages we can able to do the testing, that I am going to explain in the third chapter. Okay. As a fourth chapter, I am going to take up the STLC, software testing life cycle. Here I'll explain like test planning, test strategies, test designing, like how to write the test cases, scenarios, data, and how the execution flow will be, how bug flow will be, and how the like reporting, closure reports will be. Everything I'm going to cover in the STLC life cycle. Okay. So in STLC topic only, I'll take one particular project like from the internet, and then I will practice it. Real-time project we will take, and I will practice it how to do the manual testing by writing the scenarios, cases, and data that I'm going to cover it in the STLC. So basically, these four topics will cover all the manual testing topics related to the different platforms. This is for manual content. Coming to automation content, so first I will start with Java, how much it is required for the automation. Let's say, for example, the basics, hoops, concepts, everything I'll going to cover. So like even you don't know like ABC of Java also, you'll be very confident after attending this particular Java classes. How much I know, that I will explain in a very easiest way, so you can able to get it in a better understanding. Okay, Java. So once Java will done, then I will go with Selenium topics. Selenium is done, because with Selenium and Java I can able to only concentrate on website automation. For covering the window based application automation, I'll go with the robot, and I will go with Appium tool for mobile application automation. So Selenium and Java, I will give complete end-to-end website automation. But for robot and Appium, I'll take only two applications example. I'll take two examples for window application. I'll take two examples for mobile application, and I'll give high level end-to-end how to do the mobile testing and Windows application. If you are interested, you can practice further. But high level, I will explain everything. So as I said just now, I explained the software overview. So you need to understand the SQL database testing, and you need to understand the API testing using the Postman tool, so that you will get understanding of end-to-end software application testing. So that's why I'm going to cover the SQL and API part also. And then I'll also go with the framework part at the end. So here I will explain Maven project structure with page object model, design pattern, and the TestNG framework I will explain. Okay. And I will explain the Git also for the code repository purpose, like code handling. And then as requested, someone like I will explain the Jenkins also. I will give you high level Jenkins. One day I will show you like how the Jenkins will be configured, and how to create the jobs, and how to schedule the jobs, how to run your automation scripts on Jenkins. That everything I will be going to explain. So this is the overall course content, but in detail what are the topics we are explaining, that will be there in the Durgasoft online website. You can able to refer with my name, so that you will be able to get the PDF of that particular course content documentation. Okay, is that clear? Cucumber I'm not taking, because we are going with the page object model with the TestNG framework I'm going to cover. But if anyone is requested with BDD and Cucumber, so that extra 2 days after completion of all these things, if the requests are there from 2 to 3 people, and then I'll take the Cucumber and BDD also, because after understanding this, the Cucumber and BDD you can able to understand very clearly. So I'll take 1 2 to 3 classes, like 2 days or 3 days of classes, so that you can able to get understanding of Cucumber and BDD. So that's what I'm saying. If any new topic is asking from your side, but I feel okay it is required, then I will explain high level that topic also by taking 1 or 2 classes. Because whatever the quality time you have, just use it in this particular time only. Then whatever you are learning on this time, it will be helpful on your complete career. So that's why I request everyone, keep your time fully, not partially. Listen carefully, practice it. So manual testing, once I started with STLC, you will get something to practice it. once started with automation, daily you need to do the practicing. Whatever I'm explaining per day basis, you have to do the practice on every day, so that only you will get clarity on the topics. Okay. So currently I'm just going with 1 hour of class, but later I'll take more 1.5 hour class, so that we'll cover the more content, because once the coding and all started, then it will take lot of time. So that's why I will take time extra, because I'm not going to prolong the days, because 2 months or 3 months we have to complete it. But I can extend my hours to explain the all the topics will be covered, not an issue. For me, time is not constraint, but for you also, make sure, okay, I want to complete in this particular duration, I wanted to go like that, but I'll try to make 2 months only, but I'll extend the hours per day basis, so that we will cover lot of content. Okay. Because if you get the HR calls, you said that whatever they are asking, okay, you have to say yes, I know this topic. Maximum we will try to cover, not 100%, but maximum we will try to cover high level. What are the topics are required, that I will cover fully, 100% I will cover. But rest of optional topics all will be covered in a high level, because no one is covering the Windows automation and mobile automation. These are like optional topics, but still I will take 1 week of time to cover all these two, so that you will get clarity. So it will be easy for your future. So that's why I'm going to cover all the optional topics in a high level. I hope it's clear. If something is there, then let me know. Any more doubts? Syllabus I have explained. Cucumber I said okay, it's like optional. At the last I will cover once mine is done. Yeah. So if anyone having is any doubt, then let me know. Otherwise, we'll stop here and we'll continue tomorrow, same time, 10 o'clock. Okay? 1 minute. Okay, guys. Then bye. Thank you.